And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester. With me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday, May 22nd. In 2 days, I turn 40. I'm scared. How are you this weekend, my friend?
Brad, you dropped a big one on me there. I totally forgot. I've been seeing the Facebook notifications for like the past 5 days that your big day is upon us. Super excited to celebrate you this week, even if it's obviously from a distance. But I am doing well. It was a really, really solid week. Busy now with work and going back to school. But blessings have been abundant, and I am so excited to be here with you and to discuss another very newsworthy week in this business we love that's called professional wrestling. How are you, my dude?
I actually love these weeks. These weeks are my favorite weeks because the wrestling in AEW this week was not bad, but it was in my opinion, a relatively forgettable week. I could have had this week or not had this week. I feel like they dropped the ball a little bit. Or maybe it's just becoming more one note for me. But all the other news, all the business news, all the suspensions and all of the other stuff, I love this stuff. Speaking of business news, Tyler, today I got a new iPhone. It's really nice. It's blue.
Check it out.
It's a 13 Pro, not a 13 Pro Max. That's way too damn big. But my first question for you today is not an actual question. You're doing me the honor of taking the decision out of my hands. Tyler, I would like you to name my iPhone.
Brad, this is complete pressure. Oh man, clearly it has to be a wrestling reference. You named your new fridge after Malachi Black.
Yep, Malachi Black.
Malachi Black.
Because it's Matt Black.
Your phone is blue.
Mm-hmm.
So we have
sky blue.
We have sky. Thank you. Beat me to it. We have sky blue. We have the blue meanie. We have the Blue World Order.
Blue Thunder Bomb.
The Blue Thunder Bomb. Yes, I think we've seen that. We've seen that move used several times this week.
Chris Statlander this week for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just blue hair now as well.
Yeah.
Blue and black hair. Oh man, I think we already have some great options there. What do you think? Blue World Order seems a little too. Nah, that's like 2001. We kind of left it there.
I feel like if somebody saw that, like if I'm looking for my hotspot and other people see it, they're going to think it's some sort of cult.
Yeah, very likely. Very likely. Blue Thunder Bomb is intriguing, but like you said, if you're considering what are people going to say when they see it, that kind of limits some of our options here. I wonder if by the end of the episode, as I stroked my chin and thought, I wonder if by the end of the episode we come up with a name, or do you need an answer from me right now?
Well, if you don't have an answer, we got to wait, but we could also be some sort of SmackDown related reference. The blue brand.
Yeah. The fist.
Yeah.
Blue
I don't
fist.
know if I want to call it fisting or anything.
No.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
That brings up other blue terms. The blue chew. Yeah.
Blue chew. Yeah. Insert your joke here. There's a few of them.
And if you want to insert bluechew.com.
Code GI19.
Okay.
Man, I think I'm gonna have to get back to you for the sake of our listeners. I can just hear like half of our listenership right now just saying these guys just make a decision.
Just left. Yeah.
Dozens and dozens. I'm gonna get back to you by the end of the episode, and that way our
sweet.
viewers, our listeners will also hang on too. And we're gonna figure this out, man. I got you.
Okay, I'm excited to see what we come up with here. Otherwise, I'm just going to name it iPhone (6) because I believe it's the sixth one I've owned.
Most likely. That's probably what will end up happening.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Sad.
Brad, we've already teased it, man. Lots to talk about. I think we should just go ahead and jump right into it.
Let's dive in.
Awesome. So my first question for you is related to the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. We've spotlighted it on GI for several weeks in a row. And this week, some major progression. I don't know about you, Brad, but I was pretty disappointed with who the Jokers turned out to be. I think back to last week on our episode when we were making these grand predictions. I think I settled on Miro and Athena as the Joker. Absolutely worked myself into a shoot. I think I sent you more than one Miro gif of his entrance when he comes leaping out. And
I mean, I was disappointed too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So anyway, we got Johnny Elite, formerly known as John Morrison, Johnny Mundo,
Johnny Impact,
Johnny Impact,
75 other things.
Absolutely, yes. And then we got I don't know why I'm blanking on her name now against Britt Baker.
Maki Ito.
Maki Ito. Yeah, you're I know you're a big fan. She hasn't quite grown on me the way she's grown on you, but I do admit she's very different and she is entertaining. That being said, Brad, my question here for you, twofold, as you become accustomed to. One, what stood out to me from the tournament this week by far was Kyle O'Reilly versus Rey Fenix on Dynamite. I think this is in my early match of the year candidate list. I thought this match ruled so hard, Brad. So my first question, what were your thoughts on O'Reilly versus Phoenix? And we saw O'Reilly pick up the clean victory. And then second part, if you had one takeaway from this week in the Owen, what was it for you? Was it the surprises? Was it O'Reilly versus Phoenix? Or was it something that I haven't quite covered?
So the John Morrison thing, the Johnny Elite thing, surprised me, not because he showed up, not because his name is Johnny Elite. It's because he didn't get a graphic. So I don't know what the relationship is there. I think maybe they had him come in, do a one-off so he could get his name, be Johnny Elite. Maybe they just wanted a big talent to come in. I thought it was great. I thought he looked pretty good, a little rusty. That 450 was rough sauce. He missed about 5 feet, landed on his, just absolutely destroyed his knees, and then belly flopped to finish. And I was just like, at least he got there, but it was rough. I was also disappointed it was a Miro, but then not that long afterward, Lana Perry got out there and talked about Miro having a pilot that he filmed, which if picked up means he'll be filming for a while. So I don't know. They're probably waiting to see what the shooting schedule is going to be, because maybe it was supposed to be Miro, but with that pilot looming, if he's got more time off coming so that he can actually shoot that, be part of that show, do that show, and then come back when it's off time, kind of like what Phil's doing, what Punk is doing. I could see that happening. My big takeaway from the Owen tournament is so far, the matches have been good. That Kyle O'Reilly Rey Fenix match was the best match of the tournament.
It was amazing.
Even close comparison. I loved it. I thought it was a great match. The Joker Samoa Joe, I don't know. So I don't know where they're going with that stuff. Like, they're trying to keep ROH alive right now. I understand what Tony's doing with ROH, trying to build ROH as the brand to make sure people are still thinking about it since it's not on. All of that as they file trademarks and patents for ROH logos and do all this stuff. But I guess my biggest takeaway so far is, number one, I still don't know what the outcome of the Owen is, other than there's a belt, which I'm not sure how it's, I don't know if you saw this, but there are belts for the Owen tournament, and I'm not sure how it'll function, if it's going to be like a Dynamite Diamond Ring belt or what it'll be. The Jokers have both been brought in to lose, and I'm not going to say to job out or anything like that, but like, as soon as John Morrison showed up, I went, oh, this is going to be cool. He's definitely going to lose. And then as soon as Maki Ito showed up, I went, really? Like, I love Maki Ito. Don't get me wrong. I think she's a hell of a worker. I really do. I've seen some of her stuff. Mostly I started liking what she does and what she is on Twitter. I didn't start liking her by watching AEW. and I don't watch enough Japanese wrestling to say any kind of intelligent commentary on it other than what I've seen on Twitter, like I said. But it was disappointing. So we had these two jokers show up. Both of them are kind of disappointing. Even though if you would have asked me as soon as Morrison was released, if he was going to AEW, I would have been stoked. But as soon as we saw the words Johnny come across the screen, I was like, holy shit, they got Gargano already.
Huge
and
pop.
Then huge pop.
At the Winchester compound, and I think they were in Texas. And in Texas. Massive pop.
It was like, oh, like you could hear the crowd do that. Yeah. It was so funny. It was like, okay. Okay, that's good. I thought it was chocolate cake. It's not. It's some kind of cinnamon cake. It's not as good, but it's pretty good. We'll take it. And then Maki Ito came out, and it was like, hey, it's not chocolate cake, but at least it's a strawberry or something. It's some kind of dessert we can palate. In no way she's beating freaking Britt Baker.
Right.
Even though I loved her. Like, if you would have told me Maki Ito was facing Riho, okay, sign me right the hell up. Because that would have ruled.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that would have.
Because they're both about the same size. They're going to work really stiff. It could have been really great. But
and when you think about it, Britt advancing to face Tony, like that makes so much sense given the storyline of the past few weeks. Like it was just sitting there. But it's funny because I absolutely thought both jokers were going to win their respective matches. But it was just right there. It seems so obvious now, Brad, in hindsight.
And I think both of us thought that Samoa Joe would lose via Sanjay and Jay Lethal and Singh coming in and interfering. Instead, they came in afterward and kicked the crap out of him. And all right. They also kicked Johnny Elite. So what is that going to be like a potential pairing of those two? Because I was
going to say maybe it's not a one-off.
Maybe it's not, but like I don't know. I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to the finals because I'm kind of ready for it to be over. This last week made me just go, I'm not that invested anymore because there's not enough storyline within it for me to really invest. The only storyline there is right now is that it's a tournament that people are trying to win, but it's not like I sent to you, I think it was this morning, the Hangman pop for his return.
Casino ladder match.
So when he showed up, there's stakes in that match too. There's stakes in the Owen tournament. But when he showed up to that match, it was different. He had the story with Kenny. He needed to win that so he could get the title shot so he could face Kenny. There's so many things going on in that moment for that match, for that tournament, if you want to look at it that way, that battle royale. Right now, there's not a lot of stakes in this tournament outside of winning the tournament. There's not enough driving it. Like Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole going like, we're both in the elite or the undisputed elite and we're going to blah, blah, blah. That's fine. It eventually will lead to a split of them and the Bucks when Kenny gets back, I'm sure. Which probably isn't going to be for another 6 months. But I just, I don't know. I'm kind of out on it. I was really negative on AEW this week. So much so that when I was watching Rampage, I fell asleep. I'm not going to lie.
Were you watching Rampage live?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I fell asleep at 5.
I mean, also oh, okay. Damn. I was going to say you had a busy week, which we'll get into later, but yeah, 5 o'clock, man. I think that is pretty indicative of how you feel about the programming.
I think it also was indicative of the fact that it was a brutal week. It's been a brutal semester. School's done, so it was exhausting, long grind.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's so interesting. I was higher on AEW's programming this week, but I do agree with you that the Owen. I mean, so much of wrestling is our expectations for matches, for storylines, for these programs, and you and I had, I think, pretty lofty expectations for the Owen, and it's been kind of mad, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the matches will deliver at the pay-per-view.
That's what I was going to say, man. The matches within it have been good matches, but I just don't care about them. Like, I care that they happen because they were good, but I don't care because there's no reason to care about them other than who advances. But I'm not that invested in a tournament where I think it was really cool that they had Martha.
Yes. Yeah, they're
And the
panning to
kids.
her often. Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because that gives us like there's Martha Hart. Holy shit, that's Owen's wife. There's his kids. One of the sons or the daughters. I don't remember which one I saw. I looked at them and I was like, oh my God, that person looks just like Owen. It was wild. A literal nugget. I just don't know. Other than like, if you're not invested in Owen Hart, why do you care about this tournament? I guess that's the big thing, because they haven't done any kind of job explaining any of like what happens if you win. What happens if you win? You're the winner at the end.
Yeah.
How is this different than the Dynamite Diamond Ring tournament?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Well, and they had that. I
Other than
remember,
it's only for men.
Right. Right. Yeah. Amen. They had that first Owen tribute video where they were reminding the audience how special of a dude and performer he was.
Yeah. Incredible.
But since then, I think it would be nice if they had something to layer on top of that. I don't know if that's an interview with Dr. Martha, or, I mean, I know they can't really show footage because WWE owns that, but
not the New Japan.
Yeah. It seems like they had that first video
with the headband
tribute
and stuff.
Yeah, they had that first video tribute, which was amazing. I think it was maybe,
incredible. Yeah,
1 minute or thereabouts. But since then, it's just been these matches that, again, the storylines have often felt lackluster and just sort of like we're just waiting to get to the finals, and those will be guaranteed bangers, and then we'll move on.
I think to your point, they did a great job setting up the importance of Owen Hart. And the importance of naming this after his foundation. But they didn't set up the importance of the tournament other than it's for Owen. That's cool. But what does that mean? And they haven't done any of that yet. And that's the part that I'm waiting for them to get to. Because right now, I don't really care. I want to see the matches. I want to see who wins. But I don't know what happens afterward. They get belts. That's it.
Yeah. What are the stakes?
I don't want to. I don't want to see. I don't want to see the belts on TV. I just don't like.
Yeah, I don't think they're needed.
No, because they can't even do the TNT belt justice right now, and that will be a question.
Oh boy, I have some thoughts on that. We'll table it. We'll get to it later, but I think that's a wise point by you, my man.
All right, you ready for my question?
I am ready for your second question. Technically, question number one, but regardless, I am eager and ready.
Still not sure what to do with this blue phone.
Yeah, man. I think iPhone 6 is
iPhone. Famous eyes. Malachi Black, Rey Mysterio Jr. I don't know. We can call it the Vader pop.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, the TNT title, in my opinion, has become as important as the FTW championship in AEW, which is a big step down. 6 months ago, you could argue it is as important as the AEW championship. This week, Sammy Guevara stole the title and then smashed it. Last week, he stole it. This week, he smashed it. Or at least, I can't remember if it was last week or just on Dynamite. It has been presented part of this current storyline, Tyler, not a former storyline, but current storyline. And it has been everywhere that there are, in fact, 2 goddamn belts. AEW seems to be ignoring that the other belt exists. What do you make of all of this?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I will tell you, I don't have anything TNT title related on my questions list for you, but I'm so happy you brought this up because I was watching Rampage before our recording.
Me too.
And that footage that they cut to, so it's Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, and of course Dan Lambert. He's still around for whatever reason in the ring cutting a promo. They cut to Sammy in I think the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
And he has this sledgehammer, and he is seemingly destroying the TNT title. The gold TNT plate pops out, and then Frankie Kazarian appears, and so it seems Frankie and Sammy are by proxy in cahoots, potentially to fight Men of the Year. It's so confusing. I think the TNT title, You can call me a Cody mark because that's accurate. But since Cody has left, it really seems like the TNT title has been the most lackluster aspect of AEW programming week after week after week. Like you said, it's really in that FTW range of, at least FTW doesn't pretend to be one of the most important belts on the show. I love Taz, and so I would never speak ill of FTW, but it's never tried to be the world title or the TNT title. It's a cool option used for storytelling. Ricky has it, but it's not of the substance that the TNT title should command. I don't like any of this. I am so confused by the programming. I don't even see what the end goal is going to be.
Right.
Is what we're watching now gonna be justifiable when we get to the end point? I don't know how it could be, because I don't know what is the best case scenario for this in a month? Scorpio is still champ. Scorpio needs to be champ by the time they go to LA the week after Double or Nothing. That's clear to me. And I think we're going to get Scorpio versus Frankie. I think that match was agreed upon. SCU, two of the SCU members fight for the TNT title at the LA Forum. But I don't think Frankie's taking the belt there. So Scorpio retains, and then he just I don't like any of this. This is by far the number one issue I have with AEW right now. I would even argue, for me, ahead of the hot and cold booking of the women's division. Although I think that's paramount, I am disgusted with the TNT title booking. This used to be, Brad, you and I love the TNT title. Do you remember when the great Brody Lee was TNT champ?
Brody was the best TNT champ, I thought, until
made.
Yes, until Cody got it back and elevated it, until Darby got it and elevated it again.
And then this is great synergy. And then Miro.
And then
I would argue
the greatest TNT champion.
I would say my favorite TNT champion thus far. Brody obviously is right up there, but Miro, I think I don't think there's any argument. You could have your favorite TNT champ, but in terms of the greatest TNT champ, I think it has to be Miro.
It's Miro.
To think that was what, Brad? Who was TNT champ at last Double or Nothing? I think it was Miro defending against Lance Archer, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I may need to double check that.
Or
I could be wrong.
Well, Double or Nothing was when Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson debuted, right?
That was all out.
That was all out.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Miro versus Archer, right?
Then it had to have been Miro versus Archer, because Miro versus Danielson happened later, correct?
Yeah.
Because they chopped the ever-living piss out of each other.
I'm going to look this up while you speak when I turn it over to you, like right now. Man, I loathe this. I think the people involved are so talented, and I was hopeful that at Double or Nothing, this would be expedited booking, but I was hoping at Double or Nothing we would get Ethan Page versus Scorpio Sky, which before we started recording, I told you part of my enthusiasm for Double or Nothing is that we are seeing so many new faces get this pay-per-view shine. The Daniel Garcias, the 2.0s, Swerve and Keith Lee are on the show. FTW's on the show. Like, I was so hopeful that this could be a big moment for Ethan Page and Scorpio. But Brad, I don't think the TNT belt is even going to be on this show at the pay-per-view, which to me clearly summarizes the terrible booking, the atrocity that we've been witnessing for the past several weeks. What are your thoughts, my friend, as I confirm who Miro's opponent was last year?
Everything you said is dead on, man. First of all, I'm glad it's not on the pay-per-view, because what they're doing right now is ass. I don't want Frankie Kazarian in the title picture. Listen, I think he's great. He's older. I don't want him there. There are 15 other guys I would rather see in the title picture right now. Like, easily 15 in the TNT title picture. Hell, Matt Sydal I'd like to see in the title picture. Dante, Darby back in there. Andrade, Malachi, Buddy. The list goes on. There's guys in dark that probably could be in that title picture. At least in those matches. Like, put Jungle Boy back into that.
Yeah. Did you say Dante already?
Yeah.
Okay, you did. Good.
Yeah.
I was Googling. It was Miro versus Archer. Yeah,
Awesome.
Dante Martin, who had an awesome showing this
Yeah.
past week in the main event of Rampage.
Shit, dude, you're telling me like granted I know contract situations, all that stuff, but like get Takeshita in there. Takeshita should be the immediate challenger, right?
What a week for him.
I just
He's not
gotta
on my
say,
list, but what a week for him.
I didn't put him in the questions here, but that was one of the best matches I've seen this year.
Snug.
Holy shit, yeah. And the post-match interview was amazing. Where Hangman was like, "Oh my god."
Oh, I didn't see that. I think
said,
I saw it appear on the timeline, but I didn't click on it for some reason.
There was a couple. He said that he was seeing stars after a couple of the shots he took.
Yes,
Takeshita
kicked out of a tombstone.
That dude,
wild.
He's huge.
Yes.
Like when you see pictures of him, like just coming, you're like, I don't know. I look at it and I think, oh, that's it's gonna be a bloodbath, because I keep thinking like whenever I see Japanese talent coming over, for some reason I associated some Japanese talent with masks and like, I don't know, just different mask gimmicks. And then I think about like them being a luchador and that size, which is not the case, because that is a big, full-grown ass man.
Yeah.
He is a monster. So
yeah,
when I see pictures of him coming from DDT, I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be smaller guys that work really fast. Nope, just a sirloin steak sons of bitch out there smacking people around. He's a big, strong dude, and I love watching him work. I absolutely love him. I hope they sign him in at AEW if he'd be willing to come work here. My God, pal, he's so good.
How old is he?
I don't know. Old enough to whoop ass. That's all I care.
Yeah, probably. I'm going to say he's like what, 24 maybe.
He's got to be in his early 20s.
Yeah,
to mid 20s.
Plenty of years. Plenty.
But that's the thing. It's like this TNT title doesn't mean that you immediately need to be at this level. Ruby Soho makes all the sense in the world for TBS champ, more than world champ right now. I don't know if they have anybody but Jade on their card right now that could be world champ and hold it as world champ.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Rosa, they haven't booked her well. This Deeb thing's going to be good.
We'll get there. Don't you worry.
The TNT title used to mean everything. Yeah. Darby, when he cut that promo about like, what are you going to do next? He's like, I'm coming for this. It's the only one I care about. And it's the only one that matters. They have since then made it not. And it kind of breaks my heart, man.
And the fact that it's during Scorpio's reign, like I just for obvious reasons, I hate that it's during his reign. I don't like any of this. It's Scorpio versus Ethan, like that. I just thought that made so much sense, and I genuinely thought that's where they were headed. I thought these guys were going to break up, and we would get the grudge match for the title in Vegas. I would be stoked for that.
Ethan Page would probably kill him. But I think they can make a really good match out of it. Ethan Page is so goddamn strong. Like he's so underrated in terms of strength and as a worker. I don't know why he must be hurt. It's the only possible thing I can think, or be on an agreement where he doesn't wrestle very much, because he has not been wrestling at all. He's great on the mic, but I haven't seen him. Dude, he threw Darby 400 yards into the crowd. Why isn't he on my TV wrestling people?
Speaking of last year's Double or Nothing, my favorite show of 2021. Yeah, that's when we got Sting and Darby versus the Men of the Year. An absolute blast.
Yes, it was so much fun. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about this, but I do know that you have something to say here, my friend. Man, it's time for a segment that has currently no music, but will have debut music here in a second. Tyler, what the hell happened to the Suns?
What happened here?
You know, I didn't think about, I guess I couldn't have known that we were going to have TNT title talk and then the Suns back to back, Brad. I don't appreciate what you're doing to my blood pressure here, but I had to just address our beloved Phoenix Suns. So I can't believe it's only been a week, Brad. This time last week, you and I were recording. It was before Mavericks at Suns, Game 7, as you would put it, the best two words in sports. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. But a week ago, last Sunday night, the Suns laid an absolute egg at home, Footprint Center, Phoenix, Arizona. Brad, I am still speechless after watching that game, thinking about that game, digesting content about that game. It is still completely baffling. I know you and I, and I'm sure many of our listeners, follow mainstream sports, not just pro wrestling. If you just follow pro wrestling, shout out to you. That's amazing. I think a lot of our listeners are like us and love basketball, love football, baseball, right? Softball. I mean, the list goes on and on. Sports are awesome. I do not recall not only a more heartbreaking game that I've ever witnessed in my life, and I've had a week to think about this, Brad. This is not hyperbole. Not only do I can't think of a more heartbreaking loss that I've witnessed, but legitimately, and I want to know if you relate to this when I pass the floor to you in probably 3 minutes. I don't remember a game that's left me so confused at what I watched. Like, usually you can say, oh, like, that makes sense because this person is injured, or this, like, we knew there was friction on the team, or, you know, the owner's an asshole. Like, there's things we can point to, and some of those storylines do exist, right? We know Chris Paul has a history of being injured. The Chris Paul slander all week is not something I appreciated. We know he has a history of injuries. We know Robert Sarver there's some questions about Robert Sarver that have yet to fully be answered. But my God, Brad, the Suns were down, 40 plus at home against the Mavericks. I want to say 2 final points here. One, I did not expect to say this, but I am leaving that series. I have left that series with a newfound respect and appreciation for Luka Doncic. And I remember talking some trash to our good friend Ben Anderson, fellow educator Ben Anderson, because he's always been a Luka guy. And in that draft, I was more so toward Trae Young. But Brad, Luka during this game was making shots left and right, and literally, you can find the highlights, literally was laughing at the Phoenix Suns while snatching the souls out of everyone in the Footprint Center. It was absolute shades of the Joker, of Dark Knight. I just have not seen a performance more gangster than what Luka did to our guys. It was just, I know when you have the best player in the series, you have a chance, but I did not see this coming, Brad. My heart is still broken, and I think this loss is going to fundamentally change a lot in the organization. And maybe that's hyperbole, but I'm concerned that we watched DeAndre Ayton's last game in a Suns uniform. He's a Wildcat, so I have a soft spot in my heart for him. I don't know that he's coming back. Robert Sarver, I still want the full reports of the investigation. Chris Paul, is he back next year? Are we entering a new phase in Chris Paul's career? Devin Booker absolutely no-showed. There's still an APB out for Mikal Bridges. We thought he could do something on Luka, but he couldn't. I don't like it, Brad. I don't like it at all.
I'm sorry, man. Luka was smiling through the whole thing too.
Yeah,
like, he was laughing.
It was amazing.
Oh,
I can't believe I have this much respect for him after that.
I really felt for you. I was just looking up unbelievably lopsided games and blowouts that surprised me. There's a bunch of games on here where my Wolverines back in ancient times blew people out.
Michigan Wolverines, to clarify.
Yes, the only ones that matter. 1901, University of Michigan football during the season outscored opponents 550-0. That was the season.
Wow.
Didn't allow a single point. But all of the blowouts that I see on here are almost all basketball. Football or baseball. There's a couple soccer here and there, but like there's not a lot of basketball in here because typically it doesn't happen. I don't know that there's a precedent for what happened in Game 7 here.
No,
they're outside of the regular season, right? Like there's blowouts in the regular season.
Of course,
a Game 7. Holy
right.
hell.
When you are the prohibited, I don't know if that's reaching, but prohibited favorite to win the title this year, the betting favorite. You've been the best team in the NBA all year. I think the closest team to you, they were 8 games behind. I want to say it was the Grizzlies. like everyone and their mother thought you would at least get to the Western Conference Finals for the inevitable matchup against the Golden State Warriors, but our guys didn't get there, man. Brad, it was one of those situations where if you check the score on your phone, or you just turn on the game and see, oh man, it's 57-27 at halftime. You're like, this can't be right. I need to go to Verizon and get a new phone. Clearly something is off here. But it wasn't. They just absolutely throttled the Suns, and finally, I was just absolutely shell-shocked by the lack of fight. It looked like the guys just didn't want to be there. There was no, let's band together, we're not going to lose this game, let's show some grit because we won 64 games this year. There was none of that. They just folded. They didn't want to be there. And I and a lot of Valley residents are just really disgusted with how they looked. It was disgusting. I am not able to wear my son's hat or my son's tees for at least the rest of May, Brad. Maybe in June I'll consider it, but at least this week, not bringing it out. I am still disgusted. I still have a bad taste in my mouth.
It's a nice purple shirt you got on there. What?
Yeah.
There you go.
I got some Sasha Banks.
I was like,
similar color.
I didn't. You were down. I was like, if it says Rally the Valley on there,
no, it does not.
You should have worn it a week ago.
No, it's too painful.
I'm looking at this Cleveland Cavs versus Miami Heat 1991.
Oh. Wow.
Let's see. It was the worst loss in NBA history. I don't know if that still stands. I think it does. It says Mark Price and the boys. I'm like, how are you going to do Kevin Johnson like that? The Cleveland Cavs 148, Miami Heat 80. So it wasn't. Yeah, I guess it wasn't as big a beating, but it wasn't the finals either. I'm pretty sure that was regular season. So
no,
I feel you for you, my friend. I have no other precedents. It's all been Super Bowl blowouts, and that's it. Man, not in a game 7. I can't believe.
Not at home.
Absolutely shit the bed at home.
I really think we're gonna. Maybe we'll have some information or some insight a year from now, years from now, about what went on in the locker room or in the organization, because I just have a hard time. Of course, I have no sources whatsoever on this. I just have a very hard time imagining that nothing went down. It was just a goose egg performance, because that doesn't sit right with me.
And speaking of not knowing what happened and went down, later, perhaps as a separate podcast, we will be discussing Naomi and Sasha Banks and what happened in the WWE this week. It is wild. It is stone cold Steve Austin take his ball and go home-esque. It's been a wacky week in wrestling and sports. The Miami Heat have no business being this good. Everything has been crazy. Tyler Hero got benched for being so bad, and they still won. Jimmy Butler's hurt. What is happening? The NBA playoffs have been wild this year. I just, man, sports are so next level right now. And to come up with like maybe the best NBA postseason and season it's got to be top 5 in history in terms of entertainment value.
Yes,
and then to have that absolute turd burger served up to you in game 7, man, I just feel for you and your salmonella.
Absolutely. I have nothing to add. I agree with you, man. This whole postseason has just been wild with the blowouts, and we're still seeing it now in the conference finals.
Right.
It makes me question all that I thought I knew about basketball, playing it, coaching it. I'm just like, I don't know how to predict these games anymore. But anyway, Brad, something that I am looking forward to is, as always, the development of the women's division in AEW. And my question too centers around that. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's go.
Okay, so I have this on my phone. I wanted to make sure I formulate my words coherently. So this past week, we saw lots of women in the division on Dynamite and Rampage, either in the ring or cutting promos. I want to focus on the Women's World Championship match that we have upcoming at Double or Nothing. Serena Deeb is facing off against Thunder Rosa. The promo segment involving Serena Deeb, I see your reaction. Well, listeners, we do have video, 19 Media Group on YouTube. Check us out. Brad, this promo segment, we had Serena Deeb Tony Schiavone and Dustin Rhodes. And of course, Thunder Rosa ends up coming out and they have an interaction. But I want to know, because I get the feeling based on your grimace there that this was not your favorite promo of the week at all. It was another just awkward development in their rivalry. I'm sure you have more eloquent words to describe it. But of course, I want to know your thoughts on the segment. But specifically, I want to know from you, because we often talk about how there are so many talented women on this roster, and we know the potential and what could be. I want to know, what do you think has been the best women's feud in company history? I'll give you some options here. We have Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker.
This is so easy for me.
Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida, or Jade versus the World. Best women's feud so far in company history. And Brad, after Serena Deeb v Thunder Rosa, Anna Jay v Jade at the pay-per-view, who do you have hope would be that next great feud to kind of steer the ship back into place for this women's division? Best women's feud so far in company history, and who do you think needs to be that next feud that can get us back on track?
So I'll answer your 3-part question, you cheater. First of all, the segment was not good. No, it was not. No. The idea of the segment to further the storyline was good, but it was so poorly executed and poorly done that it just felt like bad high school acting. It's just gross. All of it was just bad. Very forced, didn't feel natural, wasn't believable one bit, just a big waste of time. Feuds, best feud, Britt Thunder Rosa, the end. I can't say Jade versus the World because she has baddies now. Otherwise, I would have taken Jade versus the World. I want to see Toni Storm feud with Jade. I think it would be money. I really do. I think it could be great. I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to have it be some kind of diet feud until that faction breaks up. Jade and the baddies need to be neutralized by 2 outside parties that will help somebody to defeat her. It's going to be some of that shit, because that's what they do in AEW with the heels. They have buddies, and the buddies help. When Kenny was champion, it was the Young Bucks, and until the very end, when they gave Hangman permission to win, which I thought was the best storytelling in all of AEW. In terms of men's feuds, it was Hangman and Kenny, I think. That story was just so good. But with women, man, I don't know what Thunder Rosa does next. I don't know what feud that would be next. They have great talent, but they have a lot of baby faces. And all the heels seem to be teaming together. So I don't really know who the next feud is with Thunder Rosa. That's not a baby face. And I don't know if they want to do that. I would have said Layla would have been a fun one, but she's hurt. She's on the shelf. Maki Ito might be fun to have her do a match. Like they could go a Miro route and be like, she's only susceptible to headbutts, and then have Maki Ito be a threat because she has the hardest head in the world.
You saying that just makes me picture Maki Ito receiving a pump kick from Jade.
Oh my God. That would be
imagine.
Amazing.
Match over.
I want to see her no sell it because her head's hard.
Because there could be
I want to see her get out, and then like Jade has to go kick her in the stomach, and then it's over. Immediately flips her up for a Jaded, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Light work. Quick work. Yeah.
I really like Maki Ito so much. I feel like either I'm going to be wrong about her, or you're going to come around the way you came around with Danhausen.
Yeah, there's no other option.
Amazing segment this week of the workout montage.
Yeah,
he's like,
it was like 40 seconds. Right?
Yeah,
it was perfect.
Yeah, he's lifting 5s in the gym and just standing in the treadmill with his little vampire hands and his cape, just staring at Hook. I thought that was great.
I can't believe on our Twitter poll. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I can't believe on our Twitter poll. I can't believe, but I popped for you in terms of which match you're most excited for. At GIPod19 on Twitter, you chose the buy-in match.
I just am, man. That match is going to be so much fun.
I get it. It's up there.
It's going to be stupid and amazing all at the same time.
Yeah.
Tony Nese and Hook are going to put on a show. Mark Sterling and Danhausen are going to be hilarious. Like, I
Yeah, no
already
doubt.
know how unbelievably entertaining this is going to be. It's just going to be, it's pro wrestling perfection. You know that Danhausen and Hook are going to get the dub to start the crowd off happy. Hook is obviously going to do all the damage. I don't know if he gets the pin. I kind of feel like Danhausen gets the pin here, but Hook will just kill everybody to do it. Like Danhausen takes out Mark Sterling while Hook puts a red rum on Tony Nese. I feel like is the way that needs to end.
I could see it.
But oh god, I can't wait for that. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in terms of feuds, I don't know, dude. What do you think? I have no idea.
Jade versus Tony would absolutely rule.
Or Jamie Hayter. I would like to see Jamie.
I mean, Jamie Hayter's
Hayter
just sitting
and
there as a yes.
But Jade and Britt might be awesome.
Jade versus Britt. Yeah, I really,
as a match, I don't know if I need to see it, but as a feud, I think it could be really good.
Yeah. I just really believe that Jade and Thunder Rosa coming out of Double or Nothing, because we'll get to this later in the week on our Double or Nothing preview show, but I totally see both of them retaining at the pay-per-view.
Me too.
I really believe their next feuds have to be home runs. Like we're ready for it. The talent is there. Like you brought up, Brad, I think there's women on the roster who are ready to be elevated to that level of contender status. I like your selections. I like Toni Storm. Love Toni Storm. Love Britt Baker. Hikaru Shida versus Jade, I think, would be incredibly interesting. I'm not sure who I want Thunder Rosa to face quite yet. I don't know that there's one heel that's like they're ready. Maybe Jamie Hayter, like you said, but I think we need Jamie Hayter versus Britt at some point. It's tough, man.
But then it becomes another baby face turn.
It's another baby face.
It's like, God, we have so many.
Yeah.
And all the other heels are like, because who's the next person? The Bunny, Penelope Ford, maybe.
Right.
Penelope Ford would make sense. Maybe Anna Jay turns. Maybe that's where we go with that.
Yeah, Ty Conti is sitting there. Yeah,
Ty Conti, Thunder Rosa could be really good.
Yeah, that could be a great Dynamite match.
Yeah, but like you said, a great Dynamite match. Who's the main event at pay-per-view? So I don't know what happens there, but I don't know that we need to rush into it. But hopefully they got something up their sleeves. They're going to have a title run the way that Jurassic Express has had one, which has been also kind of boring.
Yeah, a little bit. Love the guys involved, but hard to argue. Well, Brad, something we do need to rush into. We are a part of the mighty 19 Media Group. And we want to update our listeners and viewers on the 19 Media universe, if you will. Let's go ahead and jump right into the state of 19 Media.
And now it's time for the state of the biz.
Mo, a generally great dude, 19 Media co-owner, dropped a new episode of Hidden Gems Golf. Tap in as he shares his thoughts on the PGA Championship in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
The biggest Los Angeles Lakers fan in Tucson, Arizona is back with some fresh content. Check out our guy Jabari Davis and his NBA Finals File podcast, a new project he's launched with multi-time NBA champion Robert Horry. They break down the 2000 NBA Finals matchup between the Indiana Pacers and, of course, Los Angeles Lakers on their latest episode.
Speaking of Jabari, he's officially handed the keys over to JP. You can now listen to the second episode of the Jab Step with JP. Special guest, Natfluential of the Nat Podcast, joins the show to discuss all things NBA playoffs.
And speaking of our friend JP, Brad, do yourself a favor and also check out his other show, Dunk Tales. He and James take an in-depth look at both the NBA Conference Finals matchups.
I keep expecting Uncle Scrooge to show up whenever somebody says Dunk Tales. The Orlando Magic, it's great. The Orlando Magic secured the number one pick in the upcoming NBA draft. Superfans Steven and Malik provide their instant reactions on the latest episode of Close Up Magic.
And of course, finally, a huge shout out to Mike Steff, good friend of GI and fellow podcaster. You can check out his show, The Salty Thoughts of Donnie Yu, for detailed and, of course, passionate commentary on the latest news in sports, professional wrestling, and New York politics. Shout out to Mike. We know he's recovering from COVID, so we wish him well. I know he released 2 episodes of his salty thoughts to make up for the lost time. So, Mike, we're wishing you well, and as always, we love the work you're putting out.
Absolutely. Okay, Tyler, it's time for question 2. As I choke on my own lung fluid.
Yeah, take your time. I am ready for question 2. You've hit me with some bangers already, man. So I don't know what to expect, but
Jesus,
I'm game for it.
Okay, well, that was unmuted when I said that. All right.
Embrace the mess.
Embrace the mess.
Always.
The mute button on here, sometimes you click it and then it takes a second to come up. So I'm like, I don't know if I clicked it. So I'm just like stammering in and out of coughs. I don't know what that was. That's disgusting. Hikaru Shida. She wasn't medically cleared to compete. So Chris Statlander took over her spot, except she wasn't injured. She wasn't sick. She wasn't injured. She wasn't any of those things. Just turns out that medical clearance needs to take place overseas in time enough to notify AEW to let them know that they're cleared to compete. That didn't happen, which sometimes happens with overseas foreign talent. That being said, is this the right PR move for AEW to acknowledge that she is not medically cleared, implying that she is injured?
I think so. This clearly, to me, shows that something was lost in the shuffle, whether it be, scheduling, or it really seems like Shida and the bookers of AEW, Tony Khan, were not on the same page about how this timeline would play out. Because I would argue that Shida had as good of a chance as nearly anyone to win this tournament, or to at least make it to the finals. She's perpetually over Brad. Her in-ring work, I think, is as good as anyone on the roster. She's a major player in this. So in terms of, what alternatives there were, I really think this made the most sense. I don't know if you would have Chris Statlander maybe attack Shida in the back, or perhaps the baddies attack Shida in the back and just eliminate her from the tournament. I don't know what other great options that there were. And I'm also really intrigued by Chris Statlander beating Red Velvet and now facing Ruby Soho.
So I guess I don't mean the replacing her in the tournament part.
Okay.
It's the actual saying
the
not medically cleared.
Yeah.
When she's on Twitter saying, no, what do you mean I'm not medically
good.
cleared? I'm fine.
Right.
That's the part that I was like, I don't know if they did that right. I don't know if that was the right move there.
I agree with you. I appreciate you clarifying. I agree that it's a head scratcher. I would ask what are the other alternatives? Just admitting, hey, we scheduled this wrong. She had this commitment, or there was. Do you prefer the I guess the honest route, or the sort of carny, not medically cleared?
It's a good point. I'm not sure. I think sometimes you have to make it storyline, because it's there, and why not just embrace that? This is a great opportunity for Shida to come back pissed off. I got left out of the Owen. This meant something to me. He wrestled in Japan. I grew up watching clips of him wrestling in Japan. I wanted to win for Owen Hart because of how I grew up. Instead, you cut me out of this. Why? Because you can't get your shit together? Fine. I'm going to run roughshod through the entire roster.
Bring the Singapore cane.
Yes. And just start smacking people.
And the suit. Do you remember the suit?
Yes.
Suit Cheetah?
Yes.
Need it back.
Hell yes. But also with that other gear, that wrestling gear. Yeah, also that.
Respect.
I struggle with it a little bit, but did you see the post episode continuation of the fight where Danielson was stuck between the ring and the ramp? Yes.
Perplexing.
So my first thought, first of all, I don't know how that could possibly happen. If the ring can't move to get him out, how did it move enough to let him in? That's number one. Number two, my thing there, here we go again. As I drown in my own lung fluid.
I got you.
The thing there is that he grabbed the ref and was like, get me out of here, and then whispered something. And then he pulled him back and he was like, nah. And then the ref was like, hey, get out of here. And then he talked to Jake Hager. Jake went over and started stomping on his thigh, and Brian was yelling, just, ah. So when you see him get out of the ring, he was holding his thigh, not his shin. where his leg was pinned. He was selling Jake stomping on his leg, not the actual pin breaking his leg.
Great worker.
Which leads me to believe that he's totally fine, but
100%.
probably bruised, but and maybe a little uncomfortable, but not a broken bone, not a torn ligament or anything like that. He was selling the thigh stomps, which I really appreciated. But it was another example of, oh, this thing happened. Let's make it make sense. Now let's make it look like the Jericho Appreciation Society set it up so that his leg would fall in there so Jake could stomp on his leg. It's a way out. And I think for this Cheetah thing, it's a way out. The problem I had with it was that they didn't give any clarification saying she wasn't medically cleared to compete, but she is not injured. She simply, we weren't able to, whatever. Maybe they don't say that on air, but they released a statement or something. Saying Tony Khan is releasing a statement online. Check social media to see what he had to say and whatever. That would have been a way to do that. I feel like with a little more clarity, because everybody was instantly on Twitter like, did she hurt? Did she hurt her knee or her leg?
Yeah.
All these get well soon things started popping up, and it was like she was fine. She had a match the next night, beating somebody's ass for an hour. For an hour.
Literally.
Actually, I think it might have been, maybe it was an hour and a half. I can't remember.
I didn't see it, but I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it either, but my God. So yeah, I don't know how you make that any better.
Yeah, Brett, it was so interesting. Like I saw it on the timeline, I was following the chatter, and then it seemed to sort of disappear, and we move on to the next thing, like we often do. So yeah, really perplexing, man. But I don't have any great solutions. I guess kind of like you, we ended on the same point there.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this match because it was like an insane long match. I don't remember where she wrestled it. I don't know. I don't think it was in Stardom. I think it was somewhere else. But
gotta check that out.
Let's see. Mind blowing record is what the article title here is, and it's she was in Wave. That's what it was. Yeah, it doesn't have anything on here. I'll have to keep looking at this, but it's definitely longer. Sports Kita. Good Lord.
Sports Kita.
This damn thing
with 2 E's.
Almost 2 hours long.
Jeez.
Almost
amazing. I'm just marveling at the cardio, the prowess that you must have to go that long in the ring. That's amazing, man.
And then the other question I have about it, was it any good? You know, like for a match to go that long, was it even a good match, or was it just a long match?
Yeah,
because there's a
difference.
Yeah,
there's a definite difference.
It's Sheeta though, so it was probably great.
Yeah. Well, Brad, speaking of long, the school year is officially over for you, and I believe both of us have some gratitude to lay out. Let's get to it.
And now it's time for a little self-reflection. So, think about yourselves. Or something.
So, Brad, the school year is over for you. Man, I'm so happy. I'm going to make this quick so I can just pass this off to you. You completed your last week of the school year. It's done. It is summer for you. You and I were reflecting before the recording here that this has been a monumental year for both of us, but especially you personally, professionally. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll pass it over to you in terms of the milestones. I'm so happy for you. I am just beyond proud that you made it to another finish line. And I'm sure you made a huge impact on so many kids this year. So I got to hear your reflection on the school year that was, and I have a feeling you'll lay out some gratitude during that time.
Thank you so much for the words, man. This was a tough year. I've been saying that for the last 4 or 5 years. This has been a really tough year. And then it gets done, and then you look back and you're like, you know what? Maybe this year wasn't so bad. It's always the rose-colored glasses come out as soon as graduation hits.
Always.
Because you're at graduation, kids were hugging me and telling me how much they appreciated with me, being with me for the year. and writing things in my yearbook. I got a yearbook again because I wanted to make sure I had the last one with Freya in the yearbook at the preschool.
Yeah, always great purchase.
Oh, so
especially
so
if you have a child that's in there,
yeah,
even more so.
Not going to be doing that again for at least a decade here.
Those things are expensive. Are they still like $90?
We got a deal, $75.
$75 with the staff discount.
Absolute ridiculous amount of money.
That's like the cost of Forbidden Door and Slammiversary. I don't want to guilt you into never purchasing again, but that's definitely an AEW and an Impact.
Yes, but in terms of an AEW and another AEW/New Japan later this year, those are business purchases, so I don't feel bad about those.
19 media credit card.
19 media credit card. Yes.
Invoice Jones. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Jabari, Warren, and
yes, much appreciated. I think that my biggest point of gratitude this year was just, like you said, having an impact. I don't know how much of an impact I have on kids, but I never know. And then at the end, kids will tell me things, and it's always appreciated because you get to the end, you're like, man, was any of this even worth it? And the seniors' last day, which was not this week, but the week before on Thursday, I had two kids hug me crying. And I saw them again at graduation, and it was great. But both of them basically said, thank you for being more of a dad than mine ever was. And that one got me. Because I was not expecting it. Number one, I've never been a teacher that's been mistaken for a father. Usually I get told to go back to my room or get my hall pass, which is why the beard is so appreciated now. And now I'm starting to look a little older, but for about a decade there, I was getting get back to your class when I was walking around on my prep. I'm just grateful for all the relationships I forged, the small influence I may have had on some people's lives, and getting to reconnect with people. Really, really hate my schedule next year, like desperately badly. I said a month ago, if they give me freshmen, I'm done. I quit. They gave me freshmen. I didn't quit. I said, fine, as long as what period is it? It's not third period, sweet. It's fourth period. All right. And I have my 6-hour prep. Now they got rid of that. They gave me third period freshman, and now I have fifth period prep. So hope you like me being gone for 806 periods, because that shit's happening. I got doctor's appointments to go to, and I'm dipping out. I can't not. That's why I need the prep. So it's that part was really difficult, but all that being said, I also feel like I have more of a support system than I've had in a long time. At least in 1 year, I've had more of a support system. A couple years ago, it was weird. Correct me if I'm wrong here. How you felt? I felt really happy working with my PLC, with you in that PLC, even though the year sucked because it was COVID. But I really appreciated that. It's I don't take that for granted. How about you?
Oh no, that was a great run. The people in the PLC, it was Katie, Archie, Gail, and then I think just you and I. That it was hell of a starting five. I cherish those memories, man. In many ways, it just really feels like another life that I lived. I can't believe that was just a year ago, but everything you said resonated with me. 2 points I took away were 3 points really. I'll be quick. Were one, you don't know if you're making that impact. I know it can sound cliche, but it's so true. But then you feel it that last week, that graduation night, 1000% yes. The support system, absolutely couldn't make it without. And you said something else that really resonated with me. I guess I'll leave it there, man. Just making it to the finish line, because the job, as you and I know, and anyone that's in the field who might be listening, especially Marana High School colleagues, the job is not always as glamorous as one may seem from watching Hallmark movies and commercials for graduations. Like it can be that joyous, but a lot of the work is not. It's just very emotionally and physically taxing. So like I said, man, I'm just over the moon that you made it to this point, that you recognized that impact. I'm glad you're transitioning into dad territory, school dad territory. It's about time. You're approaching 40, man. So this is you ushering into the perfect role for you. I'm just so happy that you had the interactions with those two students. And yeah, man, I can't wait to see what's next for you. That's amazing. You made it, and I think you deserve to be applauded for that.
Thank you. But last thing on I'm saying this now to wrap up the music. Okay.
Yeah. I'm
no
good
way
with that.
no way we're making it through that.
No.
So you and I were talking before we started about our milestones this year, and I feel a little bit like maybe we can rattle a few off for people that don't know. This year has been an absolutely epic year for Tyler and I. Since August, since last May, Tyler started a new job in a new place, or I guess an old place. I didn't do any of those things, but starting in August, you started your new job. I bought a house. Jess and I purchased this home. We then got a dog, and
shout out to Winnie.
And actually, in between that time, you and I started something. This podcast. And
with the two letters,
something like that. Yeah.
Miami Vice. Yeah.
And then after Christmas, the wheels fell off quite literally at the Winchester household. We got COVID in January. We got the flu like a month ago now, which doesn't seem real that it's been that long. A little under a month, like 3 weeks. And our car was totaled. We bought a new car. Like there's just been so much happening around here. I'm not going to rattle off the list, but I sent you all the shit that I'm trying to get done in the next couple of weeks. And it's just like, it's a very long list. Yeah. Yes, it is. It is. So it's, but it's been a lot of really good. It's been a lot of really positive. Going back to school soon. And I want to take anything from you. So go ahead and list off all the things that we were talking about.
Oh yeah, man. Appreciate the lead in. Very quickly. Of course, starting GI, starting 2 new jobs in the span of a year, which I wasn't used to. I've been blessed that I've had some longevity in my early professional career. Obviously, I was at Marina High School for 5 really amazing years. I think about them often, actually, even though it feels like a long time ago. But yeah, man, transitioning jobs. A month or 2 ago, starting this grad program at ASU. Well, we just finished our first week last week. It's fully online, so I'm just adjusting to being a student again. Of course, having my health, having family and great friends in my life. Just can't take any of that for granted, man. I'm just so grateful that another academic year we've passed, and there's so much good happening in life that I'm hopeful.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Hell of a year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. A lot to reflect on. So speaking of reflections, Brad, final questions for each of us. I don't even know that I need my phone. I think I remember, but I'll take a look anyway. My third question is related to the segment from Dynamite involving MJF and Wardlow. So I tried to formulate one specific question, but it's not necessarily my forte. I just want a temperature check with you on the build to Wardlow versus MJF. This is a match that is, what would you say, Brad? 2 years in the making. One of the longest.
Yeah.
One of the best examples of long-term storytelling in wrestling right now, I would argue. Wardlow seems to be molten hot. MJF always gets a great reaction. This week on Dynamite, we're going to see Wardlow face Shawn Spears in a steel cage. MJF is the special guest referee. If Wardlow wins, he officially gets the match. Very simply, Brad, just a temperature check. How are you feeling about this feud? And what is your excitement level for the cage match? And then, thus, we could strongly assume getting the actual match of Wardlow powerbombing MJF into the sun in Las Vegas.
I can't wait for this. This is the best thing AEW has going at the moment in terms of storyline. It might be one of the best things in wrestling. It's really built over the last couple of weeks. Now, I'll say this about this segment. God, I loved it up until the end. I didn't like them beating him down and stuff. It was fine. I understand why they did it. I understand why they felt like they had to do that. It's fine. It's just like, why were there no repercussions? The agreement was that MJF would lash him 10 times. He did it like 150. Nothing was said. So I feel like if something doesn't get done about that by the time the cage match happens, then I don't know. I feel like Tony needs to come out and say, no, you're not special guest referee. You're also in the match with Wardlow. Would be or something, like or say like
Curveball.
if Wardlow beats Sean, it's another match, but it's you have to wrestle him in a cage at Double or Nothing, or in a Blood and Guts or whatever Hell in a Cell gimmick they could have there. I don't know what they would call it there. A Long Island street fight.
I'll pass.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Yeah. They could probably make it work, but yeah, the Minneapolis street fight, man, I'm just still a little scarred by it.
Makes me sick.
Yeah.
Just makes me sick. I hate that I was right. So I number one, I took away this. MJF is yoked. Like that dude is in the best shape I've ever seen him in.
Yes, phenomenal.
He took his shirt off and I went, oh my God.
Yeah. The transformation of his body from year one of AEW till now cannot be understated. Man has put in the work.
Yes, he absolutely has. He looks great. I can't wait for the cage match for one reason. Do you know what the one reason is?
I think it's going to involve Sean Spears because I know you're very high on him.
Just the entrance. I don't care about everything else.
Just the okay.
And then after that,
great entrance. Yes.
The last time Sean Spears got in a match with somebody that was like way out of his current weight class, not I guess metaphorical weight class, he got squashed in like 20 seconds. He had his long ass entrance. He went to the ring and somebody murdered him. I don't remember who it was.
Was it CM Punk?
It might have been CM Punk. Yeah, it was CM Punk because it was during the feud with MJF.
Yeah.
He just GTS'd him right away.
That was about
it was awesome. So getting that really cool entrance. I'm really hot on this. I can't wait for this. This is like you said, it's been a build that's been a couple years long. That being said, I think that's why it's so good right now. And they have stakes. There's stakes involved. I don't know why it's so hard to come up with a reason. Like have it matter for some reason. Cool. This match is Sean Spears versus Jobber Joe on Rampage. But why? We understand it's to make Sean Spears feel like more of a threat because otherwise it's just Sean Spears showing up to get eaten by Wardlow. But why is he there? Why does this matter for him? Why is this match even on this card? Is it this is to try to qualify for something or to move up the rankings? They're currently in this, whatever. Why is this match on my TV right now when Andrade's not here? Why is this match on my TV right now when all these other great guys aren't doing anything?
Right. It seems like the whole goal, and I popped for Big Damo appearing, formerly Killian Dane in NXT.
Yes, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, totally looks different.
I didn't recognize him at all.
No, looks totally different. Did the signature diving splash.
That was awesome.
Crossbody move. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, really good show. It was just great to see him. It seems like this was clearly.
But he should have won. I'm sorry, but he should have won.
Clearly they were establishing Sean Spears as the Giant Killer. That's his nickname that they've given him for the past few weeks, and he defeated one half of Bear Country, right?
Yeah.
He defeated Big Damo. And there may be another giant I'm forgetting somewhere in there, but I agree with you. This happened and love both of the talents.
Yeah.
Andrade, though, MIA, assuming not at the pay-per-view.
And I don't need it to be Andrade. I just know Andrade is trying to get things. Big Damo is not.
He deserves these things.
Big Damo against Sean Spears is a great elevation match. I don't need it on the main roster when there's all these other talent that I want to see these bigger feuds. No disrespect to anybody involved, but I want to see, like, if they built that so that it became a thing, cool. I want to see it, but there was no build that was like, here's Big Damo. That rules. Why do I care about this? Like, this doesn't matter to me. So anyway, maybe Drake Maverick will come out of the back and team up with his old partner, and
we can wish these things.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. He's doing creative, but
miss that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, man, I am so stoked for Wardlow versus MJF, Wardlow versus Spears, just the build of Wardlow.
It's been fun.
As I've stated multiple times to you personally on air, I just love it, man. It's so simple, but it's so over, and I think it's been really brilliant.
Okay, this is the final question.
Let's go.
The shows this week, in my opinion, were pretty lackluster compared to previous weeks, especially after the weird reaction the audience had to an awesome talent in Johnny Elite. Is this coming Dynamite and Rampage more important than any in recent memory? These are the go home shows.
Yes, they have to be. There are still the card for Double or Nothing is not fully set. We know we need the Owen, Owen finals to be announced. I think other than that, it seems like it's really filling up, man. We got the buy-in match. Obviously, we've talked at length about. I love knowing that House of Black versus Death Triangle is officially on the card.
So much fun,
Brad. When I tell you, I did not realize that match was announced until before the show. So it's not on Twitter as an option for us. But that match, I think, might be my number one choice. Honestly, like
as a wrestling match, it's gonna. I think
that match is gonna be bonkers. But
my steal the show. Yeah.
But my point is, to answer your question, hopefully somewhat succinctly, is we know that the booking of House of Black versus Death Triangle has been pretty hit or miss. We know the eventual match is going to rule hard, but they've done some silly shit with these guys.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we've not liked a lot of the House of Black presentation. Death Triangle, phenomenal. Sometimes it seems like the segment overstays their welcome. So if there's an absolute terrible segment or segment that is just not what we want it to be for the trios match, for Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb, for name the big match at Double or Nothing, I think that's really going to affect our excitement. Yeah. Like, imagine, I don't want to pick on them, but imagine if Deeb and Rosa have another segment like from this past week, like the one where they met on the ramp to set up this match. That would be really bad because we know how talented both of them are and how hard this match is going to rule. So my answer is yes. It's huge. This pay-per-view is going to be massive. I think there could be some huge wins at the pay-per-view that could really shake up the company. So yes, this is the most important week of programming for them in quite some time. Maybe since post All Out after Bryan and Cole were introduced.
Yes.
What say you?
That run for like a month after that. Holy shit. Like, good God, there was some good television there.
Earth-shattering.
I guess I feel like the AEW pay-per-views are always the post-Raw Mania or post-Mania Raw, excuse me. So the post pay-per-view match, Dynamite's probably going to be really good. I don't think we get debuts. Here's what I hope happens at the end of the pay-per-view. Punk loses. Hangman retains. There's the handshake. And then we hear the horns. And it's Miro. Miro's the next challenger. Wow. I immediately want that.
Wow.
Because he's still a heel, but everybody's going to love that he's here. He's going to get a massive pop because you know how much that's going to rule. That's legitimately what I want, which means that he can't show up on Dynamite this week, which means it's going to have to strictly be on what business happens here. And I don't know if Rampage is taped this week. I really hope it's live, but my guess is that it's taped. Because the playoffs are still going on and all that. It's probably also going to be at a stupid time again. Glad I'm not working. And dude, if we get another Serena Deeb, Hikaru Shida Serena Deeb Thunder Rosa segment like we've gotten, I'm already kind of down on this. Like, right. I don't like Thunder Rosa's had just a lame title reign.
And
I thought Brett's was bad.
And we legitimately adore both of these women as talents, right?
Serena Deeb, I don't
know.
No,
that is high.
Deeb was my wrestler. No. Hold on.
Okay.
Serena Deeb is the best in-ring wrestler, maybe in the company, entire company.
Okay, I'm with you.
She's a terrible promo, just god awful. It's one of the worst promos that I've seen in a while. And I don't know if it's because she was in the WWE system for so long that she's used to doing scripted things, but it's very clunky. Yeah. It feels like when I read this thing. So like, I'm going to read something here. I'm going to read the first Mo thing from 19 Media, and I'm going to read it as though I'm delivering a promo. Mo, a generally great dude and 19 Media co-owner, dropped a new episode of Hidden Gems Golf. That's the kind of shit they do. It's like you're out of breath trying to remember the words you got to say. Just say the words. I'm so tired of these fake ass promos. That's why I can't watch WWE. Is because people will go like, and then we're gonna fight. Mic drop.
If you have the balls.
Well, they do that.
I think Deeb's promo also included balls. Did it not?
Yeah. Yes, it did.
It's like, oh my gosh, no, I didn't want to hear this again.
Lots of balls and bitches on this show again.
And it's not exclusive to Deeb, I should say. It seems like reoccurring. We're still getting the if you have the balls line. Every time it does nothing for me.
The best, me either. The best promo growth that I have seen in AEW is Jade. She has gone from,
we saw her this week,
that clunky very first appearance where she's like, my partner's gonna be Shaq. Like it was so awkward. It was like
Cody's in the ring and she's on the ramp.
4-second pause before she said Shaq. And now she's in there. Tony, cut the shit. It's so good.
That's speaking directly to Anna Jay in the camera.
Yes.
Yeah. It was simple. It was quick. It was,
But she's gotten so natural with it. And I think that's the thing that I'm missing here is I feel like Serena Deeb is probably this super nice person that everybody loves that's coming out there to be a monster. And I don't buy it for a second because she can't act at all. It's the same problem as Ronda has. Ronda can't act. Ronda is this thing. But even the best sometimes sound like this. Sasha Banks, which I know we're going to talk about after this, she does this a lot. That's how she reads her promos a lot.
It's true.
Then she throws in the fake laugh. And it's
the fake laugh does pop me. I must say I do get some Freya vibes from the laugh when Freya does the fake laugh.
Yeah. Freya was doing it yesterday in the car.
Yeah. Right, but Sasha Banks is not Freya, so we want a little bit more.
No, it's even Seth's laugh feels more believable.
They do pop. Yeah, we'll say.
Yes, they absolutely, because that's the point.
That's the gimmick.
But when it's not, and it still sounds like that, something's got to change.
Well, I've never thought Sasha was a top promo to begin with. In ring, top of the top, but promo wise, not in a long time for me. Maybe early NXT, but not.
I don't think anybody touches Bayley or Charlotte except Becky. Becky's probably the top star they have right now on the women's side of things. Bianca in the ring is incredible. Bianca on the mic is pretty good, but she's not Becky. I also feel if Becky had a hot mic, I feel like she could probably eviscerate anybody. And like for real, I don't think she'd stand a chance to get somebody like MJF or anything like that. But Becky and Charlotte, man, great on the mic. Bayley, incredible on the mic. Sasha, fine. Everybody else is just sort of fine, but I'm not, man, I hate bashing on everybody when I'm like, oh, this sucks. Deeb's my wrestler of the year. So,
right. This is true. We have the tape,
but that's the thing. I want to see her wrestle. I don't want to see her do this crappy promo program where it's just not working for me. It's just Thunder Rosa going like, you were my mentor, La Mera Mera. It. So it's the whole program. And Deeb going, I'm going to squint at you because that connotes anger. And that's it. It's like it's the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just not indicative of how awesome it could be. And finally, I'll just say that, I think this coming off the heels of Britt versus Thunder Rosa affects how we view this, because you and I and a lot of the audience kind of soured on that feud near the end. By the time, the title match happened and then the rematch happened, we were like, oh, this doesn't feel as exciting. Like this should be the crescendo. This should be the big moment. And although the cage match ruled and Thunder Rosa won and it was a huge celebration, you and I agreed that the weeks leading up to it was just like, oh, is this hitting for you? Because it's not hitting for me, and I'm not as excited anymore.
It's very much.
Go
ahead.
No, I was just going to say, also, I do think you alluded to this earlier. My last AEW point, I promise. I do think the tag match, the build up for the tag title match also has to deliver this week. We're getting what could be a really awesome triple threat in Jungle Boy versus Swerve versus Ricky, which should be amazing.
Yeah, should be incredible.
But I think it points the build for this match. Some weeks have been really good and intriguing. Other weeks, it's like, oh, there's too much. There's too many storylines at play here. You got Christian and Jungle Boy. You got FTW versus Swerve and Keith. I think this also, along with Deeb versus Rosa, it could go one way or the other. A great week of programming could really build and hype up this match, or it could do the opposite.
I think, yeah, you're dead on. What I was thinking is that the build to this reminds me of the Sasha Bianca build to their WrestleMania match. The build just sucked, and then we knew the match was going to be lights out, and it was. It was incredible.
Yeah,
and it was the simplest thing in the world. It was right there. I feel like they're doing the same thing with Deeb and Thunder Rosa, and I don't know why. Because I love both of them. I can't wait to see this match, but I also like the build for it. It sucked. It's made me want to watch it less, not more, and that's unfortunate. I'll still be excited when it shows up on my screen, mostly because that means it's over. I don't know what'll happen. Frankly, I don't care. I think Deeb would be a great champion. I don't know if I'm ready to see Thunder Rosa lose, but
I don't think she's losing.
I don't think she is either, but I don't really care if she does either. Her title reigns have been kind of boring. So unless they have something lined up next to go, like, we're really going to ramp it up here with this feud, they need a women's MJF.
Yeah.
They don't have a good bad guy on there. Like, Jade's the best heel, if you want to call her that, on the roster right now.
Kind of a tweener, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a tweener.
She's a heel the way that a lot of the 90s Attitude Era wrestlers were, where they're like, they're a bad guy, but we like them. They're the best, and we hope they win. That's sort of the way Jade is. I think Jade's untouchable right now. I think Jade should be Jade 2 belts and just go for the women's title next. I would love to see that. Have her beat Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what else they do at this point. But man, the other thing I wanted to say, this is my last thing, and then we can wrap it up here, is that tag 3-way is going to be great. I hate that they treat the FTW belt like any other belt. It is an opportunity, since it's FTW, to acknowledge the existence of ECW, even if they can't say it, by making it more of a hardcore title instead of we're going to have a straight up wrestling match. See who wins. I don't want to see that. Make it a submission match if you want to make it simple. Doesn't have to be that. You could make that the submission only belt or a hardcore belt. I don't really want it to turn into the hardcore title because that was too much. But they could do something where it's not normal rules attached to it. There has to be a stip. Because right now, what's different between that belt and the TNT title, like I talked about earlier in the pod, that TNT title right now sucks. And the FTW title isn't an official title. So why do I care? Make them matter more in some way, but for the FTW one, I feel like it's a simple fix, because Ricky Starks having that belt, why couldn't that be the TNT title? I don't really understand the difference. Why is it the FTW? This is my title. It's like, why? Because you're in Team Taz? Who cares? Like, just, I don't know. Drop the belt, give it to somebody else. You don't need it. Darby's been in crazy matches. He's been in coffin matches. He's earned that belt more than anybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he's still descending from the ladder from that swan time as we speak.
But I think the next person to take that belt has to be Hook. It has to be. Get Hobbs and Starks out of Team Taz. Taz is like, I'm sick of you guys losing. Maybe they lose this week. I'm tired of the losses. You guys have been an embarrassment. You keep feuding with these guys. I don't know what I'm going to do, but get out of here, get out of my face. And then Taz advocates for Hook. Maybe we get Hookhausen versus Starks and Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs lining up against Danhausen could be absolute money.
I hadn't considered this, but I need to see that now, Brad. And you laid it out. I was just gonna I was just going to respond by saying I agree with you. The FTW belt could be very special and unique if they followed what you said. I do think the FTW is going to be more relevant than it ever has in the company once Hook gets it. It's his birthright. It's going to be a great story, and they could do some really cool things with it once he gets it. And like I said, now I need to see Hookhausen versus Starks.
How awesome would that be?
And Hobbs. I need that now. Thank you for giving us that image.
Well, on that note, Tyler, I think it's time to wrap up the show. You can find us on social media. You can get to me at Wind Duster. It's at The Real Wind Duster on Instagram, but otherwise it's at Wind Duster at Twitter. You can find Tyler at Tyler J. McDowell. You can also go to 19mediagroup.com, at 19M Group on Twitter. Search for the 19 Media Group channel on YouTube. Follow that bad boy. Our channel is within the 19 Media Group channel. We have a playlist on there. And you can watch all of our previous shows, or you can watch the shows we have upcoming. Subscribe to that. Leave a comment. Share it with your friends. Let people know you're listening. Let people know you're watching. That would be a huge help to us.
Yeah, 100%, Brad. Really enjoyed this episode as always. So grateful for everyone that is supporting us. And we hope to see you all on the next one. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.